Hey, it's James here from Guitarist.com, and welcome back to 30 Days of Guitar. Today is day 28, and we are going to work on a couple of metronome skills that are going to carry you far. A couple things that we can do that are really simple and straightforward that'll help build up your timing, and a couple other things. Now, if you haven't done so already, I have a free ebook. There's a link to that in the corner that has a lot of what we're going to be covering and what we have covered in this series. And also, please take a moment to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you enjoy learning guitar with me. I do appreciate those of you who have taken the time to do that. Otherwise, let's just jump straight in. If you're not aware, the metronome is a tool that keeps a steady beat the entire time. Every song has a pulse, kind of like your heart. It's just beats steadily. And when the pulse happens quickly, the song is really fast. When the pulse happens slowly, the song is really slow. And that's pretty straightforward. And every song, for the most part, starts at a certain tempo, and it keeps that tempo the entire time. There are songs where that doesn't happen, where maybe the chorus is faster and so on. There are songs, like if you listen to recordings, especially from like the 50s and 60s, where people kind of slow down and speed up because they wouldn't record with a click track. And there are musicians out there who can just keep a completely steady tempo, like perfectly. It's insane, So there's a whole variety out there, but at the end of the day, it is a valuable skill to be able to play in time with a steady tempo, because if you want to play with other people, you got to lock into each other. And the difference between playing with a metronome and playing with another human, there's not too much of a difference, except that the metronome's perfect and you and the other human are going to speed up and slow down a little bit together. But the point is you're locking in either way, and we can practice that with our metronome. Before we work on that specifically, however, I'd like to show you another way that we can use the metronome that's going to help us with our chord shapes. When we're switching chords, silent switching is, one of the ultimate ways to start, to get used to it. And once you're pretty good with a couple of chord shapes, we can use the metronome to kind of test ourselves. So I want to take Stand By Me, which was G, E minor, C, D. We played each chord for some a little bit longer, some a little bit less, but let's imagine that we just have them in that exact order, G, E minor, C, D. And first, we're going to go through the motions a couple times just to warm up, just to get, used to it. Help your fingers remember the shapes. Then we can pull out our metronome. I have mine set to 64. And I'm going to give myself 2 beats for every chord shape when I'm silent switching. So 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. And this might not be too bad, especially if you've been practicing along every day. They don't have to be perfect, but just the idea, getting your fingers in the right spots. We could even test them by strumming them. So we could go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, over and over again. Great warm-up. And now, let's say you do that on Monday, and it sounds great. Well, then on Tuesday, we were at 64. Now I'll go to 66. Barely any faster. And we just do that same exercise. 1, 2, 1, 2. First doing it silently. And then we try to add some strumming. See if they're clean. They sound okay. And you keep repeating that over and over again. Every day you'll get a little bit better. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll do 66 beats per minute like 5 days in a row, and then you can go to 67. Regardless, the metronome helps us keep track of that, helps us slowly climb towards our goals. Whereas if you're doing it without the metronome, you won't really know if you're just having an off day or not. This way you definitely know, like I was doing it perfectly yesterday at 66, and today I'm not. Oh, well, it's an off day. And the way that you remember it is by recording it in your journal, which we talked about quite a couple weeks ago. Anyways, you do that until you get up to like 120. And then at 120, instead of doing 2 clicks per, you could do 1 click per chord shape at 60. You just have to believe me. That's the same thing. So we're at 60 beats per minute now. And it's a low number, but we're going to change chords every click. 1, 1, 1, 1. And that is that's the gold standard for making sure that your chord switches are nice and clean, right? And you can take any song that you're interested in and just take a look at what order the chords are in, and you can turn it into an exercise just like that. Just like we took Stand By Me, turn it into that exercise. And that's one of the best things that you can do with the metronome at this point in your journey. Now, the other thing that we can do is we can improve our timing and develop that steady rhythm. And I like to count along. Just counting along to the metronome is great. 60 is a bit slow. Let's crank it up a little bit. Let's go to 72. Just going 1, 2, 3, 4. We could even do the muted strings. And it's about realizing that the click is predictable. You're not trying to react to it. You're going alongside it. You just relax. I was actually having this discussion with another guitar teacher. I'm going to be doing some workshops at his music school. And we both find that getting nervous is the number one way to not be able to lock into the rhythm, right? And it's fine. Everybody gets nervous, but I think you got to practice being relaxed. And the metronome kind of adds that pressure. Adds that pressure to your chord switching. It adds that pressure to this. And you can do it in the comfort of your own home, and you can kind of get over that just by doing it every day. And eventually one day you're like, you know what? That wasn't so bad. And that's why I like it, right? Whereas if you're never playing with a metronome, you never get that opportunity to be scared of it. I guess. I don't know. And anyways, we could even add our foot to this. Just tap our foot with the beat. Everything's moving together. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting out loud. I'm moving my arm down and I'm moving my foot down all at the same time with the click. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you get used to that. And then you could add the upstrokes. And this might be a bit quick. When we get to that point, maybe we'll slow it down to 60. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And first I'm going to count along to it to really lock in. 1 and 2 and 3, and that feels good. 1, I'll tap my foot. 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I guess what I'm getting at here, we have 3 things going on. We have counting, which we can either count 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We have our arm doing downstrokes only or down and upstrokes. And we have our foot tapping to the beat. 3 things, and I want you to practice any combination of 2. And then eventually try to put all 3 together. So you kind of have all your different variables. I'll just write it all out here. And then you just pick a couple and you say, I'm going to do both of those with the metronome. And I think that's the best way to get acquainted. There's a million metronome exercises, and you might find some more advanced things that you might think, well, if I can accomplish this advanced thing, it'll make me better at the simple stuff. But I think with this, because we're learning to lock into the beat, you want to keep it as simple as possible, just on the edge of your challenge level, and develop confidence. Developing the confidence with the rhythm is more important than being able to do some fancy rhythm thing with it, right? Anyways, that's all that I wanted to talk about today. One of the best things you can do to practice with the metronome is to take the things that you've been learning over the last 27 days, not including today, and just try to see what you can do with the metronome. Try some of the strumming patterns, try some of the rhythm exercises, the counting, whatever it is. Anyways, that's plenty to work on. If you need any extra help, don't forget to check out that free ebook or my complete beginner course, which just has everything laid out for you step by step and is designed with rhythm in mind. When I started teaching people in real life, I realized that's the thing that's gonna help everybody, and I put that into my course, that one-on-one teaching experience regarding rhythm. Either way, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you tomorrow.